Good evening. Welcome to the Selectmen meeting for September 12th, 2023. We have a full quorum. First order of business is Collab Broadband High-Speed Access presentation. Andrew Davis?
Thank you.
You?
Yep.
All right. Clara McCool?
Yep, that's
Aye.
Hello, everyone.
Anybody else?
We also Brandy Shido from Sebago Fibers.
Great. So go right ahead, and the quicker you do it, the happier we will be.
Hello, everyone. My name is Clara McCool. I work with the Greater Portland Council of Governments, GPCOG. We're a regional planning agency. We deal with a lot of different issues, including sustainability, transportation, housing, and also broadband. So I'm here tonight to talk a little bit about the history of this regional project that Raymond is a part of, and how we came to the recommendation that we're going to be talking about tonight. So just to start off, why does high-speed internet matter? It's become a very essential part of our lives to participate in daily society. A lot of people use it for education, people working from home, telehealth, and like we are tonight, using it for civic engagement. So allowing people to tune in to select board meetings like this, town council meetings from home, and participate in their society. So, and this, as we've seen over the past couple years especially, there has been more difficulty in reaching rural areas with infrastructure. So back in 2021, the Cumberland-Oxford Lakes Area Broadband Project was formed, also known as CoLab, at the request of several town managers who were hearing from their residents that they were not getting universal coverage across their town. So the group now consists of Casco, Naples, Sebago, Standish, and Raymond. And our goal over the past couple years was to identify and recommend a reliable, future-proof broadband solution for these communities that will continue to serve residents and help them keep up with technology as it advances. So this group has been in partnership with GPCOG, so that's who I'm representing. And we have also brought on a consultant, Mission Broadband, and they have helped us interact with internet service providers and sort of provide that technical expertise for the town. More recently, last fall, we applied for a grant with the state, and we were awarded $50,000 collectively to do community engagement and outreach. And we're now getting free legal services and communications consultant from the state. So that has been an exciting recognition from the state of the work that we've done. So over the past year, we have issued a request for proposals. We put it out to different internet service providers in Maine and nationwide, inviting them to come in, look at this Sebago Lakes region, and identify how they would serve. We were looking for a universal coverage, so making sure that every resident and every business in all 5 of these communities gets served by whatever recommendation the community ended up going with. So we had formed a steering committee that consisted of select board members, town managers from each of the 5 towns, met every other week to evaluate the responses that we got. We got responses from Charter, so Spectrum, GWI, which is a fiber internet service provider, Sebago Fiber, who's here with us tonight, Consolidated Communications, and Surtex. So each internet service provider provided their own pricing and business model that we went through and evaluated. So tonight we're going to be talking about a private internet service provider model with the towns as a municipal partner, so they'll be working with the private provider. We also looked into a broadband utility district, as well as a private model in which the internet service provider would be fully operating independently from the town. So that's sort of what is happening right now with, I know Raymond has coverage from Spectrum, so that's sort of that relationship where the town doesn't really have a say in the service they're getting and in where the build out happens. So we did a variety of interviews with all of these different internet service providers once we received proposals to determine what model the steering committee would then recommend to you all, the select board and the towns. So at the end of this process, the steering committee decided that they wanted to recommend the private ISP with municipal partner model. That is the model that we're going to talk about tonight with Sebago Fiber. This model was able to offer a phased and more affordable build out of fiber. So Kevin's going to talk a little bit about fiber later in the presentation, but essentially fiber is a lot more future-proof than cable, which is what Spectrum offers currently. Spectrum can offer very high download speed, so that's what it takes to take things from the internet and download them onto your computer. But the upload speeds of cable do not match. And we're starting to use upload speeds a lot more. That's what you use when you're on Zoom. A lot of businesses are starting to put their retail online. So as we move forward and become more dependent on the internet, it's actually really important that we have upload and download speeds that match. And so that's sort of how we came about choosing this recommendation. The committee was really wanting to get fiber into Raymond so that people could continue to access reliable internet for years to come. So this goes into a little detail about the recommended model. So as I said, it's Sebago Fiber. It would be a private internet service provider build out with the town as a municipal partner. So some of the benefits of this is that the town won't be financially responsible for the network, which can definitely be a burden on towns. However, the network will guarantee in the MOU that the town can define the service quality of the network. So a lot of times when you're working with a big internet service provider that it's a fully private model, the town doesn't really have any say in service level agreements. So under this model, though, the town would be able to require certain speeds. It also supports speeds that will continue to serve you in the future. So right now what we need will be different from the speeds that we'll need in 10 years. But this model will allow you to get those speeds without replacing having to replace the infrastructure in another 10 years. It's a local Maine-based company, so very nearby, and that was something that the steering committee was excited about, was, if issues arise with the network, you're able to actually call someone and have them come to the town and help you out instead of dealing with a huge corporation that it's sometimes hard to reach someone and get that customer support. And we've been able to have sort of these regular committee meetings with the owner, Andrew Davis, which is the steering committee really appreciated. The only challenges are it does require some town financial contribution, and the ISP would have the exclusive rights to the network, but the municipality would have an IRU for municipal fiber, and that's something that Andrew's going to describe a little bit. But that sort of town contribution can be seen as, you paying to have a little more control over the network and the speeds that you're getting. So that's sort of the overview and context, and I think now I will pass it on to Andrew to go into a little more detail about this recommended model.
So we have a full presentation. The key thing to think about this is Sebago Fiber looks at the town as a partner and as a customer. So in the participation on the capital side, it's really about getting you the needs to connect your buildings together, and that capital acts as a catalyst to accelerate our existing plans to build out in the area. We'll go into detailed examples that followed, but let me turn it over to Kevin, who wanted to talk briefly about the town of Raymond's needs on the municipal fiber side.
The big thing that we're looking at from my standpoint is to get the municipal network to a point where it'll service us the way it should. You can see all the locations on there, and I don't know if if you guys can read the slide or not, but those are all the current and future locations that we could see that would be served by what we call a dark fiber ring. And the reason for going with a ring versus a star network where you have it runs to each one, which is where we're operating now, we basically have a star network using virtual private networks that go back to Spectrum and then come back to us, and is extremely slow. There's no way to do backups. There's no redundancy. If one of those links fails, that location is down completely. So redundancy is one of the primary things on a ring. So the scalability in the fiber ring makes it much easier to slice into the ring than if we want to add a node. Let's say if we don't put in the places that are listed, like the beaches and the Memorial Park and the other places, we can add those in later by just splicing. It's not really, sometimes it's splicing, sometimes it's doing a different technology, which we won't talk about tonight. But having the ring gives us extreme flexibility to scale into any of those locations that are shown on there. When it says equal cost access, that's a network term saying that you avoid congestion at a central hub and everybody has equal access to the high speed that's available in the ring. The cabling is much easier than a star network, and that reduces cost, and it gives you, again, back to the redundancy. If you cut the ring anywhere, everybody still has service. And right now, if we lose service quite often to different locations, and you can't do that with a Spectrum type network. Even though Spectrum has said, we'll go fiber, what their fiber is going to be is extending fiber to places that don't have service right now. So they're not going to extend fiber to the home, and we're going to extend fiber to the home and to the businesses directly so that they get that kind of service. Depending on what you put in place for hardware, the costly switching equipment that you'd need for every location is not necessarily needed at every location. Fiber has a technology called add-drop multiplexing, where you use one fiber and you can split it into many, many frequencies. So it really is an amazing technology and gives us much better future-proofing. Again, the bandwidth is really, really amazing, and no other technology can match the fiber bandwidth. Again, future-proofing everything that we will need, and we will probably start off with the municipal dark fiber ring running at 40 gigabits per second. So that means every place on that ring could have real-time video, real-time backups almost immediately done, which we do back up a lot of data. Disaster recovery and all those type of needs will be guaranteed if we use a fiber ring. And troubleshooting is much easier. So the last line, which is, everybody's concerned about cost. Well, the initial implementation is higher cost, but the long term, it's much lower. And the cost, and we'll be talking with Sebago Fiber on how we implement that ring, because they will be able to use that ring to build out their network to the public. And so we will be able to hopefully split the cost of that main ring, which will give a lot of flexibility to everybody in getting access to the high-speed fiber. And I'll let Andrew comment more on that, because I think that's a good place where the private and public sharing of the network is going to be a real benefit.
So the comment I'll put here is one of the big differences between my company, Sebago Fiber, and the other ISPs like Spectrum and Consolidated is we're willing to do dark fiber relationships with the town. That's a very straightforward thing. We're already doing both virtual networks for Fry Island and dark fiber private networks for them. Something we're willing to do. I'm going to jump into my presentation here. So I'm Andrew Davis. I'm the owner and manager of Sebago Fiber. I've got Brandy Shido with me, who's got about 20 years experience in marketing. She leads our marketing and community engagement efforts. I've spent about 20 years in the software industry in very large companies and managed about 150 engineers worldwide. So I've got a lot of experience in big corporate America. With Sebago Fiber, we take a very different approach than that big corporate America. I'm a hands-on engineer. I can do everything from the fiber design to be up in the bucket truck and train the staff. We're a Maine-based company. We're currently, all of our equipment's on Fry Island. We plan to build an office and storage facility either in Raymond or around the Sebago Lake area. We do participate in the Affordable Connectivity Program outside of Fry Island, not on Fry Island for obvious reasons. Our team's lean and efficient, very different than a big company. We have an in-house team of staff and contractors. We have 3 senior team members, and then we have a staff of 4 techs who live in this local area. 2 of them are actually women, have learned the fiber tech role. We're supported by a team of contractors, primarily from Lewiston, Stanford, and Casco. And we actually aren't just a company on paper. We actually own bucket trucks that lets us to do things very efficiently when we need to. And when we're doing build outs or construction, we bring in our contract partners. So what makes us different our goal is to be a regional fiber provider to Sebago Lake region in southern Maine. We do business a little differently. There's no investors, there's no private equity or big corporations. We treat every dollar we invest as our own because it is. It's funds that I've invested in the company and the fiber networks we built. We take a disruptive approach based on lessons learned from software engineering. We do a lot of things different. When we work with a contractor, we work to make them optimize it to save them time. They make more money. We get things done efficiently. We try to make it easy for customers. We don't like people calling and waiting on the phone. It's not good for us. It's not good for them. We do things differently by email first support. We have real people based in the US, make things very quick. We do publish service guarantees. That's what they're referring to in the earlier slide about MOUs. We will publish standards, and we have drafts of those that have gone to Kevin and to some of the other towns already of what our network latency standards are to get off the network. We already exceed those by a major order of magnitude on our current network on Fry Island. We also do things different with pricing. We don't do bundles. We don't do prices that change over time. We have one set of pricing for everybody. It's available on the website. There's one set of pricing for Fry Island because it has different connectivity issues than the mainland, but there's one set of pricing we're proposing for all 5 towns around the lake or for any of our mainland operations. So to give you a little background on a project in Fry Island, we had a plan to build a full fiber to the home network to 60% of the island over 3 years, and we started that in 2020, entirely privately funded. We started construction in fall of 2021. We do things in a sort of a weekly cadence that we literally put the whole network together, lit up customers in about 7 days, and they all were lit up on time, on schedule. It was 3 days before the island closes for the winter, if you're familiar with Fry Island. So we know how to do things on a schedule, and we know how to do it incrementally. That first winter, we built the 1.8-mile loop around the north and lit up those customers. The following spring, we planned to do just the outside areas along the east and west side, and then we ended up expanding that due to demand and interest from people signing up twice before we even started building. And then going beyond that, we then expanded at the middle section, and then literally 5 days before construction started, we added the whole middle section down to the end by the golf course based on people's signups in real time, and then we do the engineering in iterations. We ended up finishing that first year at 96% coverage, and this spring we ended up getting 100%. So while we didn't set out to do universal coverage as a statement of goal, because we did a phased build-out approach and the word spread and demand increased, we achieved universal coverage without planning to spend all the capital up front. Each stage helped fund the next stage of the build-out. Now the island's done. We have 774 passings, all 565 homes on the island can be served this time. And as of basically this week or next week, 2/3 of the customers from the existing incumbent DSL have switched to us as the provider. That's in under 2 years. So I'm going to talk a little about our approach here, and then I'm going to hand it over to my colleague Brandy. So our approach that I just described is about community engagement. We build that support and to reach the unserved areas or the people who want better service. We do this with what's called a demand survey. That's a survey that we do online. We did one of these for the initially on Fry Island. The map shows the people responding of interest at different times and colors based on the time when they expressed interest. The north end you see as the most signups. That's why it got built first. We do this on a street-by-street level of detail to decide where we build and where the phases will be. And that then validates our capital investment plan. Do we have enough interest to build this section or not? And then we build out. And it tends to go not really from based on density, but based on interest. There can be a street where 100% of people sign up and there's only half the number of houses, but because 100% of people signed up, we go there first. So it really leads to a lot of community engagement of where do we build and based on how important it is to them. So I'm gonna let Brandy walk you through. Oh, sorry, one more slide. So the town of Raymond, just a baseline, you're looking at a drawing here from, this is Maine Connectivity Authority's analysis of the town of Raymond. Blue dots is underserved, meaning you have spectrum. You have less than 100 service. Almost all of Raymond is underserved. There's very few red dots that are unserved or not connected, which makes the area really not eligible for grants during the current rounds. So while you might technically be eligible, you're not competitive in applying for those, and therefore we've not recommended that. And that's the case for the majority of the area around Sebago Lake. So I'll let Brandy explain what a demand survey is.
So as Andrew mentioned, our approach is to start in any town with a demand survey. So this is an example of what the survey looks like. We ask people who their current providers are, what their satisfaction is with those current providers. We tell them what the pricing is and ask which plan they would sign up for. And if they're not interested, they can say no thank you. They let us know that they're not interested in a fiber plan with Sebago Fiber at that time. And then we ask them to confirm their location. They don't have to provide us with their name or contact information unless they want to, but they do need to give us their address so we can confirm demand. And as Andrew said, this is what we use to decide where we're going to go first and how we're going to build out the network in that phased approach. And so in order to get really accurate data here is where we start with the community engagement. So this is just an example of the town of Sebago. We started their survey about a month ago now. Yeah. More. And so in Sebago, the folks that had Spectrum reported only a 28% satisfaction rate with the reliability and speed of their existing provider, and only 17% satisfaction with customer service. So that's not great. There's definitely improvement to be made there. So, and Consolidated was significantly worse than that. So this is the type of data that we would provide back to the town as well to show you what your current status is. So again, an example in the town of Sebago from the survey that they've been running. We received about 219 responses in the first month of the survey, in the first 27 days. And almost 200 of those were from, and 23% were from year-round residents, which we think is really important to reach those folks that live and work in town all year long. One thing you'll notice on here is that there's a wide distribution. And everywhere that you see a green dot is people that were actually interested in signing up for a Sebago Fiber plan. So it's 94% of respondents would be interested in the town of Sebago, and only 6% were not currently interested. So this is the type of results that we have seen so far. So we get this survey out and get the word out about the project in a variety of ways. It's really important to reach people in the way that is, you know, that they are interacting with information. So you have to reach people digitally with some social media, digital news, etc. But not everybody is on Facebook or whatever. So we find that email distribution lists, we would work with your town. If you have email through the library or through the town that we can send out to let people know about the survey, we would work with you for that. Print is really important. So things like road signage. People are driving around town. They might go to the grocery store or specific areas around schools. So we would put out road signage and flyers at local businesses, town properties. And that gives us an opportunity to go in and actually talk to the people at those locations so that folks in town can also help spread the word. And then we would plan to reach out through newspaper articles and ads in the local newspapers. And then in-person events are really important. We discovered this, or we proved this, I guess, in Sebago. There was a specific area that we had not reached at all. And we went to the farmer's market and talked with a whole bunch of people at the farmer's market all day. We were able to reach some businesses in town we hadn't reached before, and a whole geographic area of folks who came to the farmer's market but hadn't seen the digital outreach so far. So these are the types of things that we want to do to engage with you and your community in the places that you tell us are important and where your residents go. We do participate in the federal ACP program, the Affordable Connectivity Program. This is a program that has about 381 Raymond households would be eligible for this program. And it is money that people can get to help get internet service at their house when they could not otherwise afford it. So we have a plan for this, and we can help people sign up for the ACP program if they need it. And one thing that's important here is while we're doing that community engagement, we'll do our best to try to reach these households as well, to let them know that there are programs to help them. And we might need to reach out to those groups differently because they might not have the same connectivity that others have.
Okay, so I'm going to talk about our public-private partnership model in a little more detail. We usually refer to it as a private ISP with a municipal partner, but what this really means is at Sebago Fiber, we look at the municipality as a customer first. You're our biggest customer, and you're unique because you have unique needs to connect your town buildings that benefit all of your residents. We start this with a meeting with the town manager or your IT administrator, and then we evaluate the town's internet connectivity needs and also the connectivity needs between their buildings. You're fortunate that Kevin's pretty articulate on what his needs are here. We take this information and we build a plan for what the future municipal network look. The one on your right is the one we did for the town of Sebago after meeting with them. And we discuss how the municipal needs can complement our company's plans to build out the fiber to home network in your area. So our goal is to build fiber to the home out around this whole lake in the next 5 years. And there's ways that these two things can work together to accelerate that. The municipal backbone here in the town of Sebago, if you looked in the previous picture, we saw the dots. It's exactly in the center. It connects the unserved areas of the town together and provides that way to accelerate the project. So we then create a proposal for the town that meets your municipal needs, and we show how that intersects with our plan build out. So we show the phases that we build out and how the town, by making a choice whether you want to build 5 miles of fiber or 14 miles of fiber for your needs, how those two things work together. And then the town makes a capital contribution based on your needs, and you get what's called an IRU, which basically says you own a portion of the fiber of the cable that connects your buildings together. And that's sort of a perpetual lease on that you have the rights to use it in exchange for your capital contribution. So Sebago Fiber, we own the pole attachments, we own the overall network, but you guys basically own the fiber that connects your building, and you're free to do what you want with that. You can have your in-house staff light it up with service. You can hire another company or an IT contractor. For that fiber, you can use whoever you want to provide service on that portion of the network between your buildings. So you're not locked into even us for that portion of the network. So for Raymond, this is sort of a high-level concept. We've already done, I think, 2 more iterations of this today that I did not get a chance to pull into this slide today. But in general concept, it's a ring or a figure 8, depending on the poles and different configurations in the area. And this would basically serve as the core to reach the other homes around the network. It's about 14.5 miles. To give you a market reference or a number you can use roughly to construct fiber on existing poles, around $60,000 per mile. And I give you that number as a reference. Our goal would be to get you a proposal that's below that number, because it'll be a combination of the fiber to the home needs and your needs. So the two can work well together in harmony. And the goal will be the fiber to the home partially offsets the cost for the town's municipal needs. And the town also gets something concrete, which is you own an asset, which is that IRU of the fiber connecting your town buildings. This is an example, as I was describing in Sebago, of how the core connects in the middle. And on this drawing, the tiny little red dots are the unserved areas of the community. And the interest is well geographically distributed to the unserved areas, as well as the areas where they already have spectrum or consolidated. There was a uniform need. But the areas in the center of the town where that blue line is, there's very few homes there. That's why the municipal contribution really helps, because it connects the more dense areas of the town and makes the whole project viable. So the next steps for us, we did a presentation tonight to sort of give the Board of Selectmen here in the town of Raymond an up-to-date on the efforts of GPCOG CoLab. We're doing this with all the towns to get feedback. The CoLab group has planning funds available that Clara mentioned. They're really looking for feedback from the board tonight on how you want to move forward and use those. We're also seeking a letter of support from Raymond in support of a grant application to Maine Connectivity Authority for the town of Sebago. So Sebago on the other side of the lake is unique, that they have about 18% that's unserved. They have a higher probability of getting a grant than any other place on the lake. They also have the 3-ring binder, which serves all of Maine there. And building a fiber network there will help extend the reach of that fiber network to Naples and then get it closer to you guys. So there's nothing needed beyond really just a letter of support that basically indicates you're supporting the GPCOG CoLab project and that you'd like to see that grant be awarded by the state. If you want to move forward with the planning efforts proposed here, mid-September through October, we would launch an updated version of the demand survey for Raymond and all the towns to collect that data. And we would basically want to work with you to identify who the advocates are and what voice you want to speak in that community engagement messaging that would work with Clara and Brandy to really focus on getting that survey out there. With that survey data back and as it comes in, we would start as part of the planning grant at Sebago Fiber a high-level design where we literally take all the locations in your town, we do a high-level design of the network, and then based on the data coming back from that survey and the interest street by street, we would build a phased approach to build the town out in phases, just like we did on Fry Island. And then in the future, we'd come back and present that to the Board of Selectmen and give you your options. If you want to invest and build 1 mile municipal fiber, here's how that would accelerate. If you want to build 14 or 20, how can that accelerate the plans that we have? And this also, the combination of that demand survey and the high-level design lets us decide where we're putting our private capital to see how, even if you did nothing, no investment from the town, what our build-out would look like. And we can have a discussion with you about that to reach a plan. So, it may not be year 1 universal coverage in Raymond, but it could be a developed plan that over 2 to 3 years, we achieve universal coverages in phases as both Sebago Fiber and the town want to make investments in the area. So I think that's it, and we welcome questions on anything we've asked.
So the ring in Raymond,
Yep.
is your service limited to that ring, or does it shoot off from there?
That is that's the locations where the municipal dark fiber would be.
Okay.
If the town of Raymond wants to build that ring, as Kevin has proposed, that would all be in the phase 1 area, and any home that's within like 250 feet of that would get fiber to the home that we would build out from that immediately. The interesting thing would be to look beyond that to see if you do the whole ring, what are the other areas that, based on interest, would we put more money in and you can go further in phase 1?
Because I'm looking, you're going up Webb's Mills and down Meadow Road and then cut across Plains Road, but Raymond's much bigger than just that area. You got the whole Raymond Cape area.
Yes.
You got North Raymond.
So this is
Are you guys already down Raymond Cape since this goes out? Or?
Copy is it, man?
So we use a combination for Fry Island. We are not currently providing service on Raymond Cape on the mainland. There are a number of areas in the town of Raymond, to follow up from your question, that we consider commercially viable, that we were planning to build before CoLab reached out to us. So we would look at the intersection of those areas. They tend to be the higher, more dense areas around some of the lakes that we would build out. But yes, this ring, to be honest, the Webb Mills Road area on the right here has some of the lowest density. This area would be a challenge to be commercially viable. There's other areas that have higher density. So by building the centerpiece, it then makes the cost for us to go to those more extreme areas much more realistic.
Can we have a copy of your presentation?
Yes, of course. Yep.
How are you feeding Fry Island then?
So like every ISP, we use a combination of services from other carriers. So there was already FCC CAF2 funded fiber coming to the island. So we feed over that from a partner, and then we built out fiber to the home for the last mile distribution on the island. So we do not have dark fiber to the island yet. That is in a plan that's coming up. And obviously Fry Island and Raymond would be connected pretty quickly. But Raymond Cape is an example of a very long road. If we had to build fiber down Raymond Cape to serve Fry Island would never have happened. Raymond Cape has a higher density at the southern tip of it, and there's middle parts of it that would be very expensive to build.
Any other questions? All right, thank you.
Just as a comment, I mean, the intent is, this was a presentation to the board without having, getting a lot of questions and answers, but there'll be other presentations and whatnot that'll get more community interaction and things like that, because, the whole key is to let everybody know how it's going to work, what it's going to work, and things like that, so that you can get the buy-in that you need, so we can get the buy-in that we need. So, thank you.
Yep. The one last thing I say is the ring we've showed you is not a statement of what phase 1 would be. It's simply the inputs to the process, and we're looking for your feedback if Raymond wants to move forward with that planning grant. And then we will work with your designate, whether it's Kevin or others, to come back to you with the presentation of here's what the phased approach looks like. Okay. And we've basically been asked by CoLab to do the similar presentation to all 5 towns to get feedback, so they can then make the decision to go ahead with the selection and move the planning grant forward. And there'll be a lot more detail to how we reach those extreme areas at the different edges of Raymond at that point.
Okay. So you would like a letter of support. I saw it in the packet. So do you have one printed out?
Yes, it's in the envelope that I gave to Lisa.
Okay. Can I have a motion from someone to,
Move to sign the letter of support for this, for the Sebago portion.
Second.
moved and seconded, discussion? All those in favor? Good luck.
Thank you. Thank you for the time this evening.
Thank you.
It's fascinating. Hope it works. Yeah.
Do we start with the?
And so next month, you're going to start the surveying, or?
If the instruction, I guess that's the other question, is a direction from your board.
Yeah.
If you want to instruct CoLab to release your portion of the planning funds, then we will start, literally on Friday, getting the survey ready to go and out.
Okay,
That's really the
so,
direction from your board. I think, is that correct, what you're looking for?
Yep. Yeah.
so Ralph, you're the liaison, you and Kevin?
Yep.
All right. So you want a motion from us to direct you to continue? Is that, can I have a motion to that effect?
Move to continue with the survey phase.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor? Okay, set to go.
Thank you so much. Thanks.
And do you want this letter, or who does it go to?
That would be great. We would digitize it and put it in the packet to
Yep.
Activity Authority. Really appreciate that.
Yep.
And when you scan it in, could you also send me a copy, since they're giving you the original right now in front of their town clerk?
Oops, sorry.
We will, would you like to scan, send it to us, Sue?
Yes, that I can do. Thank you.
Okay, would that be easier?
Yep.
All right. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Keeps us in line.
Very interesting. All right. Approval of the minutes of previous meetings.
Move the minutes of August 15th.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor? Unanimous. September 5th. I have a motion.
Move the minutes of September 5th.
Second.
All in favor? Unanimous. All right. Old business. Kyle Bancroft. Liquor license application and amusement application for East Shore Tavern. We tabled it at the last meeting, if I remember, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Wayne, Wayne, can you hear me?
I can hear you.
All right, any issues at all? I just got the report around 4:30, so,
Yeah, we only did the inspection yesterday, so my apologies to you for that. We're still having a little bit of issues with the grease hood. I think we've got, Kyle has hired a different company to do his grease hood cleaning. So I'm working with Kyle to try to address that issue. I think with the filters that are missing in his grease hood, that's part of the problem. So as a condition of approval, requiring him to do the 6-month cleaning as required, and then in 6 months for him to schedule with us to come in and re-inspect the hood and see if we've started to correct some of those issues.
because I saw in the inspection report, he put in new steel,
Yes.
right, to redirect the
Yep.
smoke?
Yeah, redirect the grease vapors
Yeah.
through the filters instead of just up the stack and through the fan.
Okay.
So I'm hopeful that will correct some of that grease buildup in that ductwork and in the fan that we've been experiencing over the last few years.
Okay. And then on the amusement license application, same thing, he got the state of Maine to sign, on the state fire marshal to sign
Yes.
off, right? So we're good to go on that one?
Yes.
So your recommendation is contingent approval with a contingency?
Yes, please, with conditions. Yep.
Okay, the conditions would be to do a 6-month follow-up inspection?
Right, and continue doing the 6-month required cleaning. Those two would be the conditions that we're asking the board to approve.
All right.
Wait,
Any questions of Wayne or Kyle?
Alex.
Oh,
Sure.
Alex, you have anything?
I have no updates from last month. Nothing's changed.
No violations?
No, the violation of the parking still exists.
The violation still exists?
Yeah.
All right. Kyle,
Good evening.
how are you?
Good, how are you?
Good. Parking lot issue hasn't been fixed?
Yeah, so I'd like to talk about that a little bit. When we originally leased that land, was with the intent to extend our patio area into that new leased land. Speaking with code enforcement and going back and forth of the cost, and then the survey, possible engineering, water runoff calculations, stuff like that, we've abandoned our expansion project. So at this point, there is no portion of our licensed business that operates on that leased portion that's separate from our facility right now. So what I've done is I have a 5-year lease on the land. There's no structures, nothing of my business is there, but it does abut the current establishment that is licensed. So where we've abandoned the expansion, everything is still within our lot. We did, when we took possession of the leased land, pulled off the topsoil, but other than that, there is nothing there to indicate that we're going to do business there, we're going to expand our business there. So that's where it's been kind of a standstill. We spoke with a surveyor, that's going to be about $3,500, another $2,000 towards engineering, probably another $4,000 in repairs to actually just bring it up to speed where it could be used to expand onto the property. So at this point, we've completely abandoned any future projects on that, and it just remains a vacant piece of land that is next to the East Shore Tavern.
Did you talk to Alex about all this instead of doing it here? Because we had it last month on the agenda.
Sure. So, I mean, when we last talked with Alex in the office, the plan was to still expand into the patio into the newly leased area. That's where all this came up. This is what we're talking about. The zoning's residential, so it'd be a change of use, a buffer. We'd have to do all these things to get it up to speed to even do this, and it's just not feasible. So at this point, we've retracted anything that we're going to do on that parcel. So that residential parcel is separate from my commercial parcel. And yes, we do have a right with a lease, but we do not operate, and we don't have a license to operate anything that happens at East Shore Tavern on that 10,000 square foot of leased land.
So I want to ask Alex.
Alex.
Yeah. So where are we at then? So did you know about any of that?
Yeah, so Kyle had reached out last fall and asked if he loamed and seeded that parking area, if that would get him out of violation, and I said yes, it would. So that would be, you know, if it's restored back to an area that's not used for parking, then yeah, the violation goes away.
And that has not been done yet?
No, it's still just
dirt.
Parking area, yeah. I mean, I know there was, at one point, he had some dumpsters stored back there. And, you know, I don't know that I've seen cars parked back there recently. I don't know if anyone else has, but, you know, that's kind of where we left it off. Last year was if it was loamed and seeded, then that would take care of the violation.
And when did you have that conversation with Kyle about loaming it?
It was probably November, maybe, October. We had met, I think, last fall, right after you guys did this last year. And he reached out to a surveyor, and that's when he got the quotes that were, I think, a little higher than he wanted to spend. And so it was, you know, if I just make it go away, does that make the violation go away? And it does, yeah.
So again, since the violation still isn't fixed, we table it again until it's done? I mean, this is what happened last month.
You can make it conditional that the violation gets fixed.
Can I speak to that for just one moment? The violation, in my opinion, should have never been issued. The violation was issued because it was an understanding that my commercial property was trying to utilize a residential property for its purposes. So if you look at the violation itself and look at the wording, it actually, the work that I did doesn't require a permit. And where it is a residential property and not a commercial property, and it's not tied to the business, it kind of separates the two issues. According to the zoning, I don't need to pull a permit up to move that loam there. And as it sits right now, it's a 10,000 square foot bare piece of land. So there's nothing on there that's, you know, I'm operating my business from, and nothing today that you're voting on with my license has anything to do with that parcel. So, I mean, if we're gonna table or going to look at, you know, holding me back because of that, I think that we should look into what that denial allows. And I looked into it this afternoon, and if my parcel was in a violation of code or ordinance or zoning, then it would be feasible for you guys to say, hey, we're gonna table this. But where this is two separate parcels and two separate owners, and there is a clear separation between commercial and residential, I think that it would be a mistake to combine the two and try to, you know, hold me up with my liquor license because of an issue on a separate parcel.
Well, I appreciate your opinion, Carl.
Sure. I mean, and I'd like to, Alex.
We listen to our CEO, because technically, if you use that parcel as part of your business and people are parking there.
We don't, though.
But we don't know that, you know, so.
But that's one of those things that,
It's one of those.
there's no it's not a parking area. There's no parking stalls. There's no parking, you know, there's nothing there other than a parcel of land that I plan to expand on, and found out from the town after talking to them it was gonna be too much money to do. So now I'm stuck with this lease that's next to my building, but it is not part of the commercial operation. It's not part of the liquor license or anything that I'm applying for today. If you guys want to look into coming after, you know, me for the code violation separately, I think it's a separate issue.
Well, we're not coming after you, Carl.
No, but what I'm saying.
Trying to work with you.
No, absolutely, but if we wanted to address, that's improper wording, excuse me.
Wouldn't a simple solution to be put Jersey barriers there so that then there's no question there can be no parking there?
Well, then I wouldn't have any access to my leased land. So I need to have access to the land that I've leased.
Gate there for you.
I mean, you could come up with some, you know, you gap, whatever, you know, but.
I mean, we could tighten it up as long as I
You
had.
know, so that way
access.
you have no possibility for someone to go there and park. As it is now, with nothing there, someone could inadvertently or whatever. If you do something like that, that precludes that. That's not that.
But my consumption area is already defined and within a gated area. So anybody that would be out there would simply be exiting the building. So there's no liquor consumption allowed on that parcel at all. So anybody that's leaving is going to be walking out of the building, and that exit dumps out my back exit there to that corner. So it kind of comes out the corner and goes to the left and right.
But you just said something that kind of raises a red flag to me, where why would you put the Jersey barriers up there if you didn't have access to it?
No, I said I would be willing if you wanted me to, like, make it smaller, but I need to have access to that parcel. I mean, I pay a monthly lease fee for that, and my only access is going to be through my lot that I run my business from.
What do you use the
parcel for?
The parcel, well, the parcel was going to be used for the expansion, and I've signed a 5-year lease that I cannot negotiate my way out of. So now I have 10,000 square feet of ground that I intended to, what I spoke with it about expanding. We're no longer expanding. And my liquor license and everything that I've presented today keeps the same footprint as we have for the last 3 years.
But what are you using that parcel for?
At this point, I don't know what I'm gonna use it for. It's stuck.
That's what I mean. If you put Jersey barriers up and you're saying you need access to it, you need access for what? Foot traffic?
If I wanted to park my vehicle there, if I wanted to put a trailer there, if I wanted to do anything that I wanted to do with leased ground that's within my rights to do, I need to have access to it. It's completely fenced off from every other side.
You also have parking down at the previous tie-dye place too, correct?
So I leased that on a separate lease, yes. So it's available for overflow parking, but my office resides in there currently. That's what I use that primarily for.
I guess I'm looking at your whole application here as that was part of this thing, but that was what was originally done, and because it wasn't originally done and you had to back off of it, it's still an issue to me that has to be fixed.
Well, that's why nothing is submitted in this paperwork that would signify that this is whole. You know, that's what I'm here to imply today, is to say that this parcel was a plan, and now that we found that it's not feasible, I still have control of this property, but there isn't any aspect of the business that I'm asking you to approve or to send to the state tonight that is conducted on there. If anything, it's there. I don't know what, so I'm not gonna put up a fence and then square in a 10,000 square foot area and pay X amount of dollars a month and not have access to it.
So when did you get this, when did you get all the information on the survey stuff, all the pricing and stuff like that? How long ago?
It was probably late fall, early winter before I had gotten a call back and was actually able to get some pricing.
So you've had this violation since then, since back then?
Yeah, and if you look, I would, if you have a copy of the violation, I'd like you to take a look at it, because the violation clearly states that or the subsection that it refers to is the work in the impervious surface would not apply to a single-family dwelling lot or a residential lot. So that's where I said, I think that we ought to look at the wording and where the violation lies. The violation lies on me and the intent to extend, because you guys, when I had done it, had figured that we're going to extend. So a violation was issued to stop me from expanding my current establishment into this leased land. That's no longer the fact. So I think the violation needs to be looked at again and looked at the verbiage. And it states in the very beginning, unless it's, with the exception of single-family home, single-family residential lot, and then 3 or 4 other items, then it goes into, you cannot add on into impervious surface, and that pretty much within the commercial district. But I would ask Alex to come up here and clarify if I'm wrong. I could pull this up, but the way that this reads is that I wasn't required to pull a building permit to remove the soil.
How big is the lot?
What's that?
How big is the lot that the soil was?
3
No, the whole lot.
3 acres.
And you are leasing 10,000 square
10,000
feet of the 3 acres?
Yep, on the front end. Yep, he was my immediate abutter right there.
But you've had months to actually fix this, if he said he talked to you back then, and it simple, like...
Well, the intent is that I didn't need a building permit. I don't plan on fixing this. Like, we had started this process and invested the money with the intent to get a return on it by expanding out. Now that we see that that's not feasible, that work's already done. If you look at it in the context of not a commercial issue, it's now a residential zone, then you'll see that I wasn't required to have a permit to pull the topsoil, and that's all that's been done in there. So now we have a lot that's got topsoil removed with the intent to do something with it that we can't do now.
Did you ever call Alex and say, hey, Alex, I'm going to pull my permit, I'm not going through with this?
No, I mean, the last time we spoke, we were going to loam and seed, but the cost of trucking in all that loam and seed, that's another expense. I mean, I can't even recoup the thousands of dollars that I've put out with the intent for this project to go forward. So I'm losing money, trying to continue to do all of this. And the way that I read it and I understand it is that, yes, there was a violation, but the violation was issued to me when I planned on expanding my commercial operation onto that land. And now that that's not happening, I think that we should revisit that and look at the actual wording of the violation. And it's very clear, it says at the top that this situation would not apply to single-family lots, which is where the 10,000 square feet is located. It's LRR2 zoning, it's not commercial zoning.
Then that's something that he needs to work out with Alex.
Yeah.
Well, Alex and
Alex, can
Board of
you
Appeals and...
get up again, please? All right, so Kyle's saying, hey, this lot I'm not going to do anything with. I tore all the loam off of it, I'm not going to do anything with it. What's the violation?
I mean, I think to the average person pulling into that parking lot, they are not going to be able to tell the difference between the parking lot for the restaurant and that dirt 10,000 square foot area. So will it be used as parking? Probably. So it's going to be off-site parking for this business. I mean, whether or not he wants to use it as that, then, that's great. But I think that ultimately it's going to get used as parking. There is an appeal period for a notice of violation. That appeal period passed probably 2 years ago at this point. This was issued, I think, in 2021. So we're talking a couple of years. Yeah, he's changed his plans, but I think ultimately there needs to be some fix to it so that it's not just off-site parking or an expansion of that.
So if there's a fence across, so a car will not go park there?
No parking sign, something,
Yeah.
I don't know, yeah. I think it would be great to be able to use that as parking area, and that's what we were trying to help him go through that process to get that approved. But it is expensive. It totally is, and I get that. It's unfortunate. But
Well, some of that is state regs, though, on
Yeah.
runoff and all that.
that's out of our hands,
Right.
unfortunately, yeah. Because I do think the parking would be nice, but it just doesn't sound like that's what he wants to do right now.
But we need some barrier there to make sure, or signs that say no parking.
Yeah, I mean, I think, just driving by, looking back there, you can't really tell that. It looks like you can just loop around the building.
Right.
So, I mean, if it,
And I'm sure that's probably been done.
yeah, probably.
Okay. Thanks, Alex.
So Kyle, the other question is,
Sure.
I know that the tie-dye place that you bought or leased or whatever,
yep.
leased, you said that was for overflow parking, but now it's going to be for trailer parking or whatever. Who's to say that you're not going to say, well, I told my employees they could park back there, or I told a friend they could park back there?
I mean, I would be well within my rights. I mean, I leased that land. So, I mean, what I choose to do with it, as long as it's not in violation with the town, even if I was to park my vehicle and 5 other personal vehicles on that land, I'm not violating any condition with the town. I leased that land. I have the right to.
Right, but you're using it, you just said I asked you about the employees, and maybe I'm not saying it right.
Are we talking about 2 different things?
You're using it for commercial purposes.
Yeah.
No, I'm talking
Whether
about
you and your
my
employees
lease.
park there, that's a commercial use of that land.
No, I'm talking about are we talking about my
He's
lease
talking
space,
about
the office, or are we talking about?
Tattoo place.
No,
I thought he.
Okay,
I think he's talking tattoo, and I think you were asking,
Okay.
and he's on tattoo.
let me
Yes.
clarify. Yeah, because I know you got, all right, so the tie-dye place.
Yes.
You used it for overflow parking for employees or whatever.
No, it's
the other place.
is an option, and that was
Okay.
one of the things that we talked
Right,
about.
and
is-
now you say you can put your trailer there, that's right, you leased it, but the same thing goes out back of the restaurant too. Because all of a sudden, if you want to have access to it, and you know you've got a busy night, hey, employees, come on back here, you guys can park back here. Yes, it is your land, you can do with it what you want. But when you're saying, hey, my employees can park back here because it's overflow parking, that's technically the business parking is what it is. So that is the commercial.
Sure, but
parking.
when I said overflow parking, that's going to be over at the tie-dye shop. So I'm not speaking about the land. You asked me about the tie-dye shop and said that's where my overflow parking would happen.
Well, I was making the reference before you were going to do the overflow, but then now you're mentioning possibly having your trailer there or.
No, I was just saying, for instance, if I wanted to park
Right.
my trailer there, if I wanted to park personally
park
owned
it out
vehicles, I could park it out back. But that doesn't mean that I'm inviting anybody. I mean, we can put up no parking signs if that would, help. But my biggest thing tonight is, hinging this violation on the approval. I just think it's unwarranted. I think that if we want to look at this issue, then I'm more than happy to work something. But it's no longer connected to East Shore Tavern. It's no longer an issue on my license side. And we could revisit that and put signage up. I'm willing to work with you, but I don't want this violation to be, holding me up tonight and moving forward.
So if we were to prove it conditioned upon the no parking signs being installed,
Sure.
you're on
Yeah.
board with that?
Yeah, no, I'm willing to work with you. We could put signs all across that back fence and, we'll put, I don't know about when you first come in, but the way that it's set up, it goes like this, and we could set up some no parking signs in the rear just to let people know. I mean, it doesn't, even right now, as it sits, we don't get a lot of parking. We have a 48-seat facility, and we're not busy all the time. So our turnover in our parking lot, with the tattoo shop that allows us to park out in front or on the side of there, we're pretty much in good shape most of the time. So no parking sign would not be an issue with a condition. I'd be happy to put that up if it meant moving forward and getting it done.
Your place can't hold 48 cars for parking.
No, we're 48 people.
48.
Oh,
Yeah, that's what my license allows.
I was going to say, there's no way.
All right, so a couple of conditions then. The grease, vent, that needs to be cleaned every 6 months. Re-inspection by the fire department. No parking signs, right?
Yep.
Okay. Can I have a motion?
Move to approve the liquor license application for East Shore Tavern, subject to the conditions.
I have a second. Second. Yes.
I guess I want the condition on there too, that those signs are put up right away, within a certain time period.
Yep.
So whatever that time period is, that's going to be.
14 days, 2 weeks.
We cut it down to 7 days. I'll get on it tomorrow.
Okay, 7 days?
7 days.
All
It'll
right.
be done by tomorrow, so.
Okay. All right, any further discussion? All in favor? Okay, unanimous. Now I need a Motion on the amusement license?
Move the approval of the special amusement license application for East Shore Tavern, subject to the same conditions.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Further discussion? All in favor? Unanimous? All right, Kyle.
Thank you, appreciate it.
You guys made a big mistake giving the license to him.
He does use the parking in the back, just so you guys know. I mean, if I can get up and speak publicly.
Well, it's a little late.
It's late, that's,
It's late for what? I was never offered to get up and speak public comment.
All you have to do is raise your hand.
Raise your hand, yeah.
Well, it's,
I'm not
we've
used to
already
meetings like
approved
this,
it,
but
yeah.
that man right there absolutely uses his back parking lot to park vehicles, or people use it to park there. I was a former employee there.
Come on up.
How many drunk people leave there driving and get pulled over? It's absolutely insane. He
So-
overfeeds alcohol like it's no other.
So I am a previous employee from East Shore Tavern, where I have experienced many violations that Kyle does on a daily basis there. No payroll offered. Liquor is being poured from bigger bottles into smaller bottles.
What do you
He
mean,
purchases
no payroll?
no payroll.
He doesn't pay his employees, and I have a daughter that's served there underage.
Hang on,
Have to
hang
stop,
on.
please.
That's why I'm here.
All right, you'll have your chance.
Stop.
Okay.
No payroll offered. I used his establishment to basically serve his patrons and make tip money, and that's what I walked out with every day I worked. I have text messages that I can forward to you guys that I have gone back and forth with Kyle asking him to start a payroll so I can have myself on document. So if I ever want to buy something, I can prove that I have the income. As to which he would say, I'll think about it.
How long did you work there?
I worked there for about 1.5 years.
Without getting paid?
I did not get an hourly wage there, no.
How did they pay you?
He didn't.
The tips, he said, she
I
said.
strictly was given tips by my patrons, and that's it. And if we can just go back to the parking, because I know you guys are really stressing on that. The back lot is absolutely used for parking. All the construction workers that live in the area don't want their wives to see them out of work early, so they park behind the building. You could probably go by there right now and see all the cars parked back there. Plus, the dumpsters are back there, so there needs to be access back there so they can get dumped, which I know is another issue.
Can you give us your name, please?
Yeah, my name's Carrie. I'm from Wyndham.
Sorry about that.
That's okay. I actually have talked with the liquor enforcer because I was concerned about the renewal of the liquor license because of liquor being purchased across the street at Circle K when we run out. RSVP was one liquor vendor, I believe, that he used that would maybe deliver to us every couple months. But if you go back and you look at liquor sales and you match those with what he has purchased from RSVP, you're going to find a huge, huge difference in what came from RSVP and what has been sold off that shelf.
Go ahead, George. Can I speak?
No.
Not yet.
No.
I'm running the meeting, all right? Go ahead.
Thank you. Yeah, have brought many concerns to Kyle, only to get no answer from a text message, or I'll take care of it when I get back from vacation, where he's purchasing vehicles and probably selling those illegally too, I don't know.
Kidding me.
Awful lot, three buildings down.
You're gonna come up, you're gonna come up in a
Hang on.
second.
Have you,
Yeah,
how'd
so,
you say?
what's that?
Are you done? Or
Yeah,
We didn't wanna cut you
yeah,
off.
Well,
no,
I
that's
don't wanna cut
okay.
you off.
I did email 2 of you here and didn't hear back from any of you, so I just wanted to come tonight and
Who did you email?
I emailed you this afternoon, and I emailed him last week.
I got one and I had no clue what that was about. Because I got the carry, I'm like,
It was
what?
ju- it
Who
was
is
just
this? And what? It was one sentence, and I was.
One sentence, no. It was a very long email.
Did you send it to my home one, or do I date that?
I believe it was your main.r.com.
I got one from there, and it was.
That's okay.
I didn't know what.
I'd also like to add that that one of the, or I'm sorry, the only cook that works there is drinking on the job, consistently drinking on the job,
And I'm told I can't drink on the job, so why can another person drink on the job? These are all concerns that I have brought to Kyle, only to be told nothing half the time.
Have you filed a complaint with the state of Maine?
Yes.
Did you hear back from them?
I have not yet.
Because what you said are a couple of big violations.
Yep.
Not getting paid.
Yep.
You can't
I'm a liquor-
just get paid tips.
Right.
There's a minimum wage.
And I understand that that's my fault too for participating in a business that isn't paying somebody. I will recognize that.
Okay.
But
All right.
when we've had several staff meetings asking for a payroll, only to be told, sorry, I'm not doing one. I'd also like to add, I did ask numerous times. We have, or when I was there was a underage child that was being cared for by the head cook there, who is also very young herself, should probably not be taking care of a 15-year-old who was removed from a home because of whatever is happening in that home, is placed into the care of a 25-year-old who has an obvious addiction. She drinks on the job. And this 15-year-old is there for 9 hours a day this summer, every day, being exposed to drunk patrons, marijuana, the liquor cabinet, I mean, anything.
DHS
He had
has to
access
follow
to
that.
it. And that was another thing
Who did
I
you
asked.
file your complaint with? Was it the Department of Labor?
Department of Labor, DHHS. Yes, I have not heard back from, I heard back from DHS right away. The Maine Labor Board, I can't remember. I may have received an email back. I can't remember off the top of my head. But I had asked several times for this to not happen because that's on me, being the bartender, the only person running the show there, to have a 15-year-old standing behind the bar.
Oh my God.
It was a nightmare. And I asked several times for it to not happen, only to get, well, I don't know, I'll have to touch base with her. I don't understand. I told this, I don't want it to happen. And then it kept happening. I kept asking, only to get no reply through text message. So
Alex,
that's it. That's all I have to say.
Okay,
I think I
thank
told
you.
you enough.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Alex, have you spoken to liquor enforcement?
I have not, no. Nor have I heard from anyone.
Have you heard this kind of stuff?
Yes, we've heard some of these complaints. You know, a lot of the stuff that she's bringing up, and I did get an email, I think, from you as well. A lot of that stuff, or all of it, is not considered a land use complaint, so it really didn't end up on my plate. But there is some stuff that, you know, I think possibly the health officer, fire inspector might need to look into. But I haven't spoken with anyone at the state.
Okay, thank you. Anybody else would like to speak?
Yes, the gentleman in the corner.
So it's better off if I don't, sir.
Anybody else?
We'd like to hear from you, sir.
Oh, hang on. Please state your name.
I'm Courtney Edwards from Wyndham. I had a friend of mine that was someone that used to go to the East Shore Tavern on a few different occasions. And one morning, after I woke, I went next door to see if he was an elderly man, a little bit older, and his car wasn't there, and I was kind of concerned. I know he had gone out that night, and I knew he was at the East Shore Tavern, and I went upstairs to find him bloody in his bed, and I ended up speaking with him, and he told me, you know, that he was really drunk. He got really blacked out drunk at the tavern, so I drove down to the tavern because he was very lethargic. Sorry, I'm really nervous. I don't like to speak publicly. But so I ended up driving down there, and I wanted some answers on what had happened the night before. Well, it seems that he just was being served shot after shot, drink after drink, until he no longer could stand anymore. That he went down on his face, split open his head, and had Kyle father had to bring him home, escort him home in his own vehicle that night, which I'm very grateful for, but I just can't imagine how many other people that enter that bar that I personally know of that there's no like cut off of alcohol. They literally get so drunk that, I mean, you can look at the police reports too from just leaving the tavern, how many people get pulled over extremely intoxicated from his bar. So I ended up taking my friend to the hospital. He had a concussion. Luckily, they found that he had blood clots too, but that was nothing to do with that. But regardless, I mean, this is just ridiculous. I've heard about needles in the back parking lot. I know of people that have used needles and shot up in their restaurant and outside of the restaurant. And unfortunately, you know, that's not on him either in terms of people using drugs. I know that that is a terrible thing, but just throwing it out there, I think that this is a little bit to the extent of crazy. Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm not gonna sign it.
Anybody else? Sir, you have your opportunity now.
You're better off I don't.
I would like to hear what you say. If you're walking out the door and saying we were in error granting this license.
Because this guy right here.
Can you state
serves-
your name, please?
Joe Grant, Wyndham. This guy here serves underage kids in high school. I know two of them, and mouth behind me needs to be quiet.
Hey,
Hey,
See?
please,
You
you got the
don't
floor.
pay attention
So
to
all
her.
I'm saying is, your liquor license shouldn't depend on a parking lot. It should depend on people's health.
Well,
this guy-
this
this
is the
guy is-
first we're hearing of it.
Yeah.
You guys keep giving them 90 days, a year. It took them 2 years to put loom on the ground that he never did. But you're giving them a liquor license like it's nothing.
But we haven't
We
heard
haven't
from you
heard
guys.
this
And you
before.
know what? I'm sorry I didn't
It's
read the
okay.
email.
So I'm under the impression.
So who does the inspections?
I'm under
But
the
the state-
impression that
Liquor
you're not
board.
allowed to speak out like I am right now during meetings.
Well,
That's why I
you-
was waiting for.
No,
public
you
comment.
can. You can during our deliberations.
Okay, all right, I did not know that.
Okay.
I mean, the biggest thing, you gotta look for safety reasons, not just because he runs a business with 48 seats. There's kids are gonna get killed by drunk drivers leaving there. And you guys just say, okay, let's give him a license, even though he didn't fix what he did, right? 2 years ago, you told him to fix it.
No, he did what
He
we
does
asked him
everything
to do.
under the radar.
Or once it's been brought up, then.
But when he kills a kid, it's gonna be on all you guys. Because you issued a liquor license to a fucking thief. Thanks for
But
listening.
wait a second, come back a minute. Just come back a second. But we don't know this until people come tell us
But you
this.
guys have him on record for 2 years. He's on a temp license. What kind of inspections are done?
Not for that though, but we need eyewitness
Yes.
testimony like you guys are
You
giving
guys get
now.
police records?
This is
Bring
the
what?
first
You get
time
police
we've
We do
heard
not
this.
get police records.
No.
So you go on a
If I
license
get
without a
the police
speak, without a
records-
What's
record?
that?
Forward them to you.
You have
You
police
can,
record?
well, you can FOA.
I mean, the sheriff's office know him by name. I was pulled over 2 weeks
All right,
ago.
if you're gonna
And they
talk,
asked,
you need
the
to.
sheriff pulled
Straight up.
her over 2 weeks ago and asked her if
They
he's still
recognized my truck.
selling cocaine out of his business.
Everything under the book here, right?
Who's on?
Hang on.
Please shut your mouth, whoever's next to me.
Hey, hang on.
So what I'm
You
saying,
need to settle down
yes,
a
I'm
little
gonna
bit.
settle down. I'm done
And
with
you're
it.
accusing us
back
of
off
something
for a
But you gave
that,
him a liquor license
Can we
to a,
change it?
but what if you kill somebody?
oh, look, that's not on us. If he meets all the qualifications for a liquor license,
He doesn't, he's been on, you've held it as,
Well, you have my information now.
right, now it's a different
It's
story.
a different story.
but what I'm
Okay.
saying though is like, his 2 years on his violation, right? 2 years
To fix it.
to fix dirt.
Yeah, but,
I mean, you think he's gonna fix his restaurant up?
Well, and we try to work with people
Right.
with stuff like that too, but that was, to us in our head, that is just the dirt issue. That's not all of
Dirt
this that we were
versus
just
killing
now.
kids. It's a
Yes.
little bit different than
Adding to
dirt.
it.
So-
Yes.
You don't look at police reports for,
We don't get them.
You don't get them.
We don't get them.
so why wouldn't they
can
give out the liquor
FOA
license and say that, Kyle, this is what goes on there, this is how many times we've been there?
there's liquor enforcement that's
There's,
supposed to go in
there's
there.
state, that's state law.
state
not
board
state.
should be
But sheriffs
looking
don't
into
tell
that.
you that.
No,
No,
I don't, no, sheriffs don't come up here and talk to us about what's going
Okay.
on.
All right, so that explains.
Okay.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Kyle, I'm
Yeah.
going to give you a chance here.
Thank you. Let's get a little context to the situation. Carrie over here, for the last 3 weeks since I've fired her for her performance, her attitude, and a lot of the drama that you're seeing here tonight, has decided to go on social media, Facebook, every time that she gets a chance.
Please.
Every time that she gets a chance to try to.
Transparent, Kyle.
Let him talk.
Please.
We let
Please.
thanks.
Just as long as he's gonna be transparent.
All right. Let Kyle talk.
Okay.
She's been running around since I fired her, and this is simple. This is nothing but her being angry that I don't employ her anymore. Now, since then, she has called DHS. DHS has come down. They've found nothing. The liquor inspector just spent an hour and a half in my facility yesterday investigating every claim that she make. Left without violation, shook my hand for being transparent.
You fixed it.
The department.
Week before.
Are we gonna?
Go ahead.
The health inspector was down 2 days before that, looking into all her claims, unfounded. So every inspecting agency that has anything to do with my license has looked into her claims, come to my facility, left without writing any kind of fine or citation, and apologized because clearly they knew that this was a retaliation. I spoke many times to her when I let her, I said, I have nothing against you. Thanks for your time here. You're not fitting in with my business, and I'm having a fallout. People are avoiding us. It's just we're a small business. This isn't good. Please don't get emotional, throw mud, do what you're going to do. And that's exactly what's happened here. She has called everybody, and everybody has come down, and not one person has issued me a citation.
Kyle, do you have those reports that show that they didn't find anything?
They don't. What they do is they come down, they issue the findings, they look at it, and then they say, "Yeah, we're out of here."
Well, like you said, they issued
issue
new
findings.
findings. Do you have those?
I know, I don't. I don't have it, but
They
it's
don't
very,
have any. They don't have anything because I
No,
know
because there was
when
nothing.
something's going on with the daycare with a parent or something like that, and they come to daycare, I get a paperwork because I have it for my
The
file.
liquor inspector was there yesterday for an hour and a half, looking into
Who was it?
everything. He's a new guy. I believe his name is Matt. He used to be
Nathan Lubier.
He's a new guy. He used to deal with Marlene Richards. He was there last night. If you guys would like to place a phone call to them, you can. I mean, this is getting ridiculous. This is nothing but retaliation. I walk out the door and this guy is threatening to strike me and said he's gonna find me. He's gonna be at my.
hold the door for you,
I know.
sissy.
I know.
heard you, but thank you.
Yeah, there's-
All right, please.
And this is what I'm saying, this is a hostile takeover of this meeting. Nothing that she or her has said bears any merit at all. And if they have any
Are you
proof.
serious?
if
Wait, hold
they-
on, hold on, hold on.
Please.
If they have.
were there.
Is it-
Please.
As
This is
far as
not
the
a place
hostile
for an
takeover,
argument.
they didn't even know they could talk.
We let you
So, yeah.
speak. We're letting
I
Kyle
also have my staff here. This is my my assistant, my general manager of the truck. This is another employee of mine.
You
They'll
mean the guy that was fired from the
Sexual harassment?
dock over sexual harassment of minors?
Please.
Do you know what's happening?
Seriously?
If people cannot be
Yeah, we're going to just move on.
civil here, then we're going to stop public comment.
Yeah.
It's that simple.
Yep.
Can you keep your mouth shut and speak only when you're at the podium?
Everybody.
Kyle, what about this payroll accusation?
It's not true. And
Do you
that's
have a
it.
payroll service?
Oh, yeah, ADP. Yep.
Okay,
When'd you stop that?
all right.
I'm going to ask that. When did you start that?
I've had ADP for since the beginning.
And who's on the payroll?
Shh, shh.
All right.
Thanks.
My employees are on the payroll.
How many employees do you have?
As of right now, minus her, 5.
So you paid her on the payroll?
She was paid part-time. Yeah.
No, I was not, Kyle. Are you kidding?
If we're gonna have- This is not an argument. This is not an argument for in here. This is,
I'm
if you
sorry,
have a payroll argument, it goes to the state. It
Yeah,
doesn't
it's
come
going
to
to.
us.
Yep.
And at the end of the day, I mean, if they have any evidence of anything that they've come up here and say, I would welcome them to present it. But anybody can walk in this building because they don't like me and make. I mean, we heard everything from I'm selling cocaine to my people are using drugs to. I mean, anything that you can say about a person to try to make them look bad has been said here tonight. And if that doesn't speak to something in itself, I don't know what will. And like I said, every inspecting agency that issues me a license has been in contact with me in the last 10 days because of this woman, and they've done nothing but say, hey, I apologize.
But Kyle, again, you're in a business that you're dealing with a lot of things.
Sure.
So you're not asking for records at all to say, I'm clear of this at all?
They come in, they didn't give me any documentation. He spent an hour and a half looking through every bottle on my shelf.
And they should have had a paper that said the complaint,
And
what
I'm
it
sure that
was.
they could, but you know what? That's something that you have to take up with them. That's not my responsibility. They didn't issue me anything.
Any department that comes in for an inspection goes through a checklist and leaves you a
Yeah.
copy.
Yeah.
Then you need to speak with the local liquor inspector. He'll confirm that he was there yesterday, and he'll tell you that I have no violations and that everything was on the up and up.
Then you should have brought all that stuff tonight.
I
You
didn't
really should have.
realize that I was gonna be bombarded here with a bunch of nonsense. If you guys
But if you're getting the complaints.
I'm
then-
not getting the complaints. These people are showing up, they're doing their job, and they're shaking my hand and not issuing me anything. They're not, if they issued me a violation, if there was something that they found, I'm sure they would.
But they should have an inspection report. That's
Then
how
we
it
could-
works.
Yeah.
And we could pull that up, but at the same time, you know, none of these people have contacted.
So, can I have a motion to reconsider?
Motion to reconsider the application.
Okay, been moved and seconded. All in favor to reconsider? Unanimous. I'm going to recommend we table this for another month until we speak to Mr. Lubier,
The liquor inspector?
the liquor inspector.
Sure. I'll have him call you first thing tomorrow.
Yep.
We're gonna have to wait another,
We can call him.
You-
Sam, please.
You made two motions.
One is-
One for liquor, one for special amusement.
A
Do you-
motion to
Do you
consider.
intend this to
For both.
recommend both?
For both.
Okay. I just wanted to clarify.
Do we
Thank
need
you.
2 votes on that, or?
No, I believe you can put them both
Okay.
together.
Yeah,
I'm gonna ask what the conditions are gonna be when we revisit this. What do you need from me, essentially? so we
we're
can-
just going to look into some of these allegations,
They're pretty big.
and they're pretty bad allegations.
Of course they are, because
And-
people are angry, clearly, by the way that you see that they're acting around me.
But if it's just like the health inspector and all these people are lying and we do a quick little whatever and we figure out they're lying, then it's not that hard. And
No, it's not that hard, but you know what? At the same time, I've told these people that I'm going to pursue legal action if they don't stop what they've done. I have documented evidence that I'm going to submit to you guys of just pages and pages of just nonsense. And it's becoming an issue here in my business. And why? Because I got rid of a bad employee. So now I have to deal with it.
so bad about me, Kyle?
So
Okay, all right, that's enough.
So DHS, they should have given you a card.
The
and-
DHS didn't come to speak with me, they spoke with the cook. Then the cook in the kitchen, there was nothing, I was there briefly that day when they were there was no issues.
They usually interview several people.
They did not interview me. So I don't know how that process worked. I'm in the bar business, not the child business, so.
All right. We heard enough on
Yeah.
this, so can I have a motion table?
Motion table.
Move.
Moved and seconded, all in favor? Table for 30 days, and then we're going to need to make some calls to the
Yes.
state. Okay? Thank you. Thank you, everyone. It's all over now. We'll
Apologies to everybody that was in
Yeah.
the middle of this.
Yeah, I apologize for my outburst.
Mine
I
too.
didn't realize that I could speak, I could raise my hand. I attend school board meetings, they're a little bit more strict. They don't allow comment.
We're not strict.
without standing up.
I can get your emails, right? I'll send you all.
And
I'll stop.
I
Yeah,
just-
Wyndham's very strict on their, yeah.
Yes, very
All right.
strict.
All
I
right.
just want to correct one thing on the record, though. With the comment that the sheriff made about him selling the cocaine, it wasn't him exactly. The sheriff that spoke to me said, "I recognize your truck from that parking lot." And I said, "I do not work there anymore." And he said, "Why is that?" I said, "It's not a reputable business." And he said, "Does Kyle still allow people to sell coke out of there?" His exact words. I do not have the officer's name, but I'm sure I could find it if you would like.
That would be helpful.
Ma'am, you were not paid?
I
when
was
you were
not
there?
paid hourly, and that was also another lie. That needs to go on the record.
Okay.
You will not see my name on
What-
any payroll system, so.
ADP, you said?
ADP.
Why did you work there?
We will be,
I worked there from February of 22
All right, Sam, we're
to
done.
We're done.
August of 23.
thank
All right.
you.
Thank you.
I got 5
Thank you.
different departments.
Good luck, Leo, with your license.
All right.
Everybody breathe. Uh-oh.
There's no argument out there, is there?
Do we need the sheriff?
You need call sheriff?
It's all good? Okay, good.
All right.
All right,
Wow, who's going to follow that one there?
We have consideration of business license application, Paul and Adeline Philippine Store.
I hope you guys
Oh,
are
well.
boring now.
You have any disgruntled employees yet?
No, it's just gonna be me and my wife.
Go stand up to the
Come
podium.
on up.
Yeah, she's like, I'm not going up there. There's no.
She won't go up.
Wow.
No.
No, she's gonna wait for you in the car.
All right, so why don't you tell us about this new business?
It's an Asian grocery store,
Okay.
and I opened it up because my wife is Filipino, and we have a lot different products. I have a booklet if you guys want to look through it. It's right here. Go bring that to them.
That's actually exciting. Something different in town. That's pretty cool.
And you're going in where?
The where the old gem jewelry store
Yeah,
used to
okay,
be.
Yeah,
Oh,
Where's that?
Oh, over by Butts and that.
yes,
Yeah, okay.
yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. And are you gonna have prepared food or?
We are going to have prepared food, but it's going to be cold because the state says we're not big enough for a commercial kitchen.
Okay.
That's okay if it's cold. Something different.
Yeah.
Holy cow.
How many square foot is this?
I think it's 1,000.
1,000 square feet. Yeah. Great.
Wow.
All right. All right. Anything you
exciting.
need to tell us about, like the last time?
Well, my wife knows more about it than I do. I only buy what she tells me to.
But you do pay her, right?
Yes.
Oh, the payroll service,
She
right?
probably pays him.
Yeah, okay, you're right.
All right.
When do you plan to open?
We were planning on be open Friday, if possible.
This Friday.
This Friday.
We have to talk to Wayne too.
Ooh.
Yeah. Okay.
And
well, and Wayne did send
Wayne
a
did-
copy of
Wayne
their.
He did send in a copy. Wayne, anything we need to put conditions on?
The only condition would be that they're planning on adding some additional either refrigeration or freezer units. And if we start having overloading of circuit problems, we would want that immediately addressed. Right now, there's not an issue, but the plan is to add more equipment and would have to be addressed if we start overloading circuits.
Have to upgrade the circuits.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, we wish you well.
Oh yeah, welcome to town too.
Yeah. We're very welcoming.
so do we,
Can I have a motion?
Santino says, I'm not going to say anything.
move to approve the business license for
Second.
Paul and Aberdeen Philippine Store.
Okay.
Second.
All in favor? Unanimous. Good luck.
Great,
All right.
congratulations.
So, are they gonna be able to open Friday?
Yeah, the only thing that they have on my end is a sign permit,
Okay.
which they'll have tomorrow. So
Okay.
yeah, they should be all set.
All right.
Good.
Good. Thank you very much.
Guys, thanks.
Glad to have you here.
Thank you. Good luck.
Thanks.
Right, we're glad to have you here.
Bye.
Once tomorrow, I'll give you a call.
Bye.
Bye.
I'd have a copy of your license.
Okay, thank you.
All right. Consideration of business license application Camp Masters Santino Tarsetti.
This is going to be boring again too, right?
My name's Tino Tarsetti, and I'd like to open a business storefront on 302. It's a shared location with Leah, Sebago Outfitters, for Camp Masters.
Okay. And what exactly is your business?
Camp maintenance business.
Okay.
Opening camps, closing camps, docks,
Oh, wow.
construction, landscaping. So it will be office use, and it will be for display use for docks, construction, somewhere someone can go, get a price, and see items on display.
So you're gonna have a crew to do your docks or?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. Have a crew already in business, just don't have a storefront or location or anything.
Okay.
So this will help customers be able to go see a display, get a price, and get parts. We're going to sell parts, dock parts.
Wow.
Is it only for camps, or you gotta do year-round people, or?
Just camps.
Can't have docks in year round.
No, I know that.
That's why the business has been so well, is that it's just niche. I don't go into Portland, I don't do any drywall, I don't do any interior work, just camps, exterior work, lakeside, where I'm DEP certified to do like construction near the lakes, but mainly landscaping, construction, and camps. Kayak racks.
So it's a seasonal business.
It's seasonal, but we stay busy year-round.
Okay.
We build docks over the winter. We prepare for the next year each winter, and it's definitely slow, but yeah, I would say year-round. Just snow shoveling, snow
On roof.
removal.
What
So
space are you taking over there?
it's the old handgun
The
shop.
spot to the right.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
How's the display stuff going to affect your parking there?
On the lawn.
Yeah, go right ahead. Yeah.
Hi, I'm Leah.
Back again.
Back again. So the kayak racks, for example, are going to be on the front lawn. So it won't affect any of the parking area because we have that big lawn area out front. So as far as that, it's not going to obstruct anything. I sell kayaks, so it goes hand in hand with my business. So I can put my kayaks on the racks, and then yeah.
That's cool.
So that goes hand in hand. That's why I actually waited for the right person, for the right tenant. That kind of marries my business, so it would make more sense.
How did you guys find each other to do this?
I just stopped in one day. I literally just stopped in, and I've been looking for a location for the last 6 months.
Wow.
And just saw her kayak and mentioned, hey, I build kayak racks. And then she mentioned that she had a location available, and we kind of talked, and it just happened out of the blue, really. So
That's great.
yeah,
Wow.
it's gonna
I
work out.
stopped
Because you're offering
one
more
time
services.
and that didn't happen to me. You know?
Yeah.
So I liquidated the gun shop side.
Yep.
So that's how that's coming into fruition. I do still sell firearms, but I realized I needed to do it by appointment only. So I still have my FFL license, but I'm very particular on who I sell it to. The paperwork is very stringent, and it's a liability. So I make sure I do it personally myself by appointment, and there's no guns for sale out on the racks anymore.
Oh,
so
right.
I order them, they go in a safe, people come and pick them up, they fill out the paperwork and so on. So
And is the food truck still there, or is that just
No.
seasonal?
that's seasonal, and I'm
Yeah,
not
okay.
sure if I'm going to move forward with that going forward next year or not. So I have other things. You're just kind of navigating the way of a business, so I'm seeing what's working and what's not. So
Oh, good.
So I guess I wasn't clear with my question.
yeah.
When you do docks, anyone who has a dock on the lake, you're willing to help them?
Not anyone.
Really?
Yeah.
I love it.
We get people that call us with a dock that's 50 years old and it's falling apart. We don't want to touch those. They're a liability, they're dangerous. So the thing is selling new docks.
Okay.
We're going to be a vendor for some of the aluminum dock companies. We'll be able to sell new docks that are safe, lightweight, and then offer, we can put these in for you as well.
Okay.
We already do that,
Yep.
but we're trying to get out of the older docks, the heavier docks.
Like the old wooden ones like I have?
Yeah. So we can convert you. That's
There you go.
I was going to say, he's working an angle here. Yes, he's going to convert you.
we can take them away. We have a boat, we have a barge. We can work near the shore and come pick up your dock, take it to the dump, and then get you a new one. So
You can do that on the Tenney River also?
I live on Panther. Yeah, I live on Panther. We've done it on the Tenney River. We've done it on Fry Island, Panther Pond.
Right.
We do over 200 docks in the area. So
Oh, wow.
it's pretty
Oh, great.
big. Yeah, Long Lake, Naples, mainly Raymond.
Yep.
But yeah, they'll be able to sell parts, mainly office space and a display area.
Okay.
That's cool.
Great.
That is good.
All right.
Move to approve the business license for Camp Masters.
Second?
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? All in favor? Good luck.
Thank you.
Good luck.
Appreciate it.
Welcome.
Welcome to Raymond. Well, living here, but still, yeah, working here now.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
All right. Kurt LaBelle, you ready? But it was amusing tonight, wasn't it?
Oh my God.
Oh, good.
Bye, Alex.
Bye, Alex.
Bye, Bruce.
Good night.
All right. It's been an exciting meeting. So
Oh, you
try to
betcha.
This is where it goes down.
This is where it gets boring now.
Yep.
Okay, so I
afraid
think
to
first
say
we're doing revaluation vendor. So as you know, over the course of the summer, we put out a RFP for a townwide revaluation. We received 2 proposals for the project, and we formed a committee of principal staff and one select board member, Ray, and we reviewed the proposals and interviewed the companies and met a couple of times, and we're ready to make a recommendation that the proposal be awarded to KRT Appraisal from Massachusetts. The bids were very close. In terms of cost, KRT is slightly lower. But what ultimately drove our decision was we felt that we were going to get the highest quality product from KRT. The 3 principals of the company are all certified Maine assessors, which I think helps when dealing with Maine taxpayers. The competitive bid, they have 1 certified assessor high up in the staff, but those people aren't typically going to be here working this job. Kevin here, who I'll introduce in a moment, was actually the principal appraiser on our last revaluation. He
Was that Vision?
with Vision,
Yeah.
now works for KRT.
Okay.
So he has a high familiarity still with the town. He has data, I think, still from his
that
last
one. Yeah.
project. So that was a plus. Already has some familiarity. KRT also demonstrated much more stability on the data collection side. They have employees that are longer term. Sometimes that portion of the reevaluation project, especially in a tight labor market, you can have high rates of turnover. And that was a selling point for us too, because that's really the primary interface that the resident has with the company until the values come out, is the person who's there measuring the home. So they have a, it's helpful if they're professional and have been doing the work for a long time. So that's our recommendation, that we award the bid to KRT and move on to contracting. I'll just introduce Kevin, and if you want to say a few words.
You want to say a few words?
And then between the 2 of us, we will answer any questions, hopefully, that the board has.
You see how exciting things are in town of Raymond? Yeah.
Everybody's laughing.
Yeah. Taste of things to come.
Yeah, thanks for having us. Yeah, we'd enjoy taking on the project once again. It was a very interesting community last time we did the revaluation, and look forward to doing it again with you folks.
A little bigger town now. A lot more houses.
Yeah, that's okay.
Yeah.
I guess the only question I have is in regards to when on the challenges, or whatever you want to call it, you've got 5 days in there that you've got factored. When we did this the last time, about how many days did get used up there? Is it, because 5 days, when you look at the number of properties and whatnot, and if you've got people going, if you're scheduling those meetings, 5 days is not that much time.
Oh, I see what you mean. You mean the informal
appeals.
hearings. Yeah, we spoke to Rob Tozier and Ken Rogers about that, and essentially the hearings will go on as long as necessary. So we were pretty clear that was our expectation. So if it takes 2, 3, or 4 weeks of hearings, we'll allot enough time for all those hearings to take place until we start to see a substantial drop off in appointments. So the proposal built in 5, but KRT's under the understanding that it will be longer than 5.
You may want to get that in writing.
Yeah, we will when it comes time for the contract. It'll be at the hearings will end at the discretion of the town.
Yeah, because I mean, at the end of the day, the people whose rates go down aren't going to complain too much, but that's not where you're going to have the time.
No, and in the last the last couple of revaluations that I did, it was 3 to 4 weeks of pretty steady hearings, and
Right.
I think that's the You've had some recent appraisals here, so.
You know, we just completed Oxford and Winslow. So in, you know, Winslow, they haven't done a revaluation in a long time. It's been, same in Oxford, is like 13 years, so.
Well, I think it's 8.
Just over.
Yeah.
Right, so over time, you know,
Yeah.
a town, for instance, in Oxford, it was, you know, went up 119% in value just because of time.
Right.
But what people don't understand is, you know, they see the value and they say, my value is from how can it go up on, you know, 80% in 1 year? But it's not. It was from, that value was established 13 years ago, in 2010, which was the case in Oxford. So, and Winslow, same thing. You know, that was 2008. So, you know, over time things change.
Right.
So.
Right. So can we get that in writing that you'll leave a month for hearings?
Yeah, I mean, we'll never turn in. Well, all we do is we simply just add on more schedules into the same time frame, and you know, right now we're in Cape Elizabeth, and you know, we thought we'd do a week of hearings. I'm already booked into next week, so yeah, it's not a problem.
All right.
Yeah, we have the staff for that.
Okay.
I mean, I just, you know, I would much.
It says 5 days, but.
Yeah, I would much prefer to have the hearings and get the things done there than having to do abatements later on.
Definitely, and we'll have those as well.
Yeah.
I had spoken to, when I spoke to Ken and Rob about that, I had told them that given that we're typically a September town, you know, if we have preliminary values ready to go out in June or July, there's going to be plenty of time for us to get through informal hearings, so that any resident who, you know, wants to be heard, they'll either be heard by KRT, they'll be heard by me, or they'll get it in a chance with the select board. So yeah, that's number one priority there. We will do that.
Okay. All right.
So you're looking for
a motion to award the contract.
Move to award the contract to KRT.
Second. Moved and seconded. Any discussion? All in favor? Unanimous? Thank you. Good luck.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Thank you.
All right, Kurt.
Yeah.
Our favorite part, setting the mill rate.
Thank you.
Nice to see you.
Yeah, good to see you. Okay, tax rate. So probably no big surprise. I think we're right in the ballpark from the projections that we had at budget time.
Yep.
Minimum tax rate this year is coming in at $15.80. Yields a $40,000 overlay, and that uses the full $200,000 of fund balance that's been approved by the town meeting for the select board to use.
Do we have, Sharice, are you there?
I'm here.
Do we have that 200,000 available?
I have estimated, you know, because we have that undesignated fund balance policy where we are striving to maintain a 15% of prior year tax commitment in the undesignated fund balance. And preliminary projections for FY23 gives us about 12.5%. So any use of, you know, if we use 100,000, you're going to be closer to, you know, maybe 12%. And I don't profess to be an auditor, so these are my numbers, and they're very rough. But that's kind of where I'm at. If you decide to use the full 200,000, you're going to be closer probably to 11%. We did last year bring in more revenues than budgeted by about 460,000, so that was good. But on the other hand, we expended 114,000 over budget. So I really can't predict what FY24 is going to bring at this point. So it's a little early on, but permits and codes have been really busy, I must say, the first couple of months of the fiscal year. But that's kind of where we're at right now. I know, not to get on to another segment of the meeting, but you're going to be hopefully adopting a post-issuance bond compliance policy. And part of that is going before a rating agency, probably S&P, and I'm presently at the conference for New England government finance officers in Rockport, and they had a segment, actually Zach Brandwine, I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing his name correctly, but he was one of the presenters and had a piece of the conference, as well as a representative from S&P. And they're part of the rating process. It does look at liquidity and policies that we have in place and undesignated fund balance and that sort of thing. So the better we are in shape, perhaps that might impact our rating. We were a AAA bond rating in 2013. There's no indication that it's going to be lower than that, but I'm not the rating agency, so but it's been very informative for me to be down here. But that's kind of where we're at right now.
What were the over expenditures on? Mostly attorney's fees?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And well, because we had insurances were quite high. We ended up paying additional premium in workers' comp. So that was over budget by $34,000. Solid waste was over budget by $29,000. The provider agencies, because we gave that additional $25,000 to the Historical Society. So that was over, $23,000 there, because we only budgeted $2 as a whole. And administration was over budget by $230,000, primarily because of legal.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
You're welcome.
I think we're going to have to limit the use of fund balance.
I agree.
So I would say we're probably looking at the middle one.
1590.
Yeah.
I agree with that. Okay. You want to make a motion?
Move to set the mill rate at 1590.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor? Unanimous. 1590.
All right. So tomorrow I will complete the process in the budgetary system, the tax systems, get the warrants. We'll send an email out when everything is ready. The figures are the final figures, the tax figures will look a little bit different than what I have on this sheet because I haven't calculated in the senior tax freeze.
So that happens for 1 year?
It's going to be a one year deal. What's going to happen is the individual taxpayers are going to, it's going to populate with their frozen tax, and it's going to calculate the grand total, and it's going to move it into a receivable count in lump sum that we'll seek reimbursement on. So I don't know what that amount is yet because the system's going to do it, but I'm going to guess it's going to be $70,000 or $80,000. So the tax commitment to the collector will be $80,000 light, but we'll have that receivable sitting there, which
From the state.
We'll put in from the state, and then we'll do some outreach in the fall to the people that were in the program, let them know what
the state screwed you over?
Well,
Yeah.
and what the fresh alternatives are,
Yeah.
the new stuff. Probably not going to be too popular. The deferral's not going to be something too many people are going to go for, especially in a town like this. I don't. But they did beef up the income tax credit, so I suppose if some of the people that qualify for that may see some more.
It's great when you have $1 billion surplus and you wipe out a very popular program. Thank you very much.
And I guess the only other thing on the reval, just so I have my ducks in a row, my thought was we'll nail down the contract framework with KRT and have it reviewed by town legal. And then you folks want to review it prior to authorizing an execution. Do you want to review the contract to make sure it's suitable?
If the town attorney's happy from what we've seen there, we're set.
You're good.
Okay, very good. Sounds great. Okay, thank you very much.
All right, thanks, Kurt. All right, Charisse. tell us about this policy. Is it a new policy? Is it?
No, it's not. It's an updated policy from, I believe, we had one when we issued the bond securities back for the other two. So 2012, 13, we had to have a policy at that point in time. So this was a proposed update to the policy that Bernstein Shore had presented back in 2021, but it never came forward to you folks.
So this has been reviewed by an attorney?
Yes, this is Bernstein Shore's
Okay.
language. I don't know, I believe Sue provided you with a red-lined copy
Yep.
as
Yes.
well as a
Or a blue-lined
clean
copy, as the
Yeah.
case may be.
And I'd like to see what the changes are, because. What page is it? Because the copy that I have has.
Or
no-
did I not give you the lined copy?
No, there was no line
I
out.
apologize, I meant to put that in there. That's,
Can you explain the changes to us?
it's extensive.
Oh, is it?
Yeah,
In that
they
case-
went, they
in that-
went through and reworded basically the entire
In
thing.
that case, I'm going to move to table
Yeah.
until we get that, so we can see what the changes are.
Yes.
Yeah.
Second.
I have a second on table.
I grabbed the wrong document.
All those in favor of tabling? All right. Sorry, Sharice.
Yeah, I mean, I could review what those changes are, but I get it, you wouldn't want to, move forward
Yeah,
with a
just send us
policy
a
that has,
copy with the changes,
you
will
know,
be good.
page and a half of changes.
Yeah,
Yeah, and then we can just move it to the next meeting.
yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. Have fun at your conference.
Thank you.
All right, consideration of annual update. This is just the new state policies.
It is. It's
Can I have a
the-
motion?
Yeah, move the updates to the general assistance ordinance.
I have a second. Moved and seconded. Any discussion? All in favor? Unanimous. All right, public comment.
We've already had that.
We had some.
We've run out of public.
Anybody on Zoom or anything?
No, just Sharice.
All right, selectmen comment. Any selectmen comment? Well, that was an exciting meeting tonight. All right, interim town manager report.
We have a new librarian. He couldn't be here tonight, but he will come to the October meeting. His
Good.
name is Richard Dowe, D-O-W-E. I hadn't seen that pronunciation of that. He is incredibly enthusiastic. He came over today and went to the library with me so that we could meet the staff and he could see the library and kind of do a icebreaker-ish kind of thing. And I think he's going to be fantastic.
Good.
And it was unanimous on the committee. Ralph was part of that as,
Yeah, I think he definitely has the enthusiasm there, and I think it's really going to play well with it's going to play well both with the younger people as well as the seniors, because he's got the ability to work at it. He knows how to work with tough people because he worked in the prison for a while. So
This guy's, you're in prison doesn't mean you're tough.
I wonder he's excited.
He's out of prison for the
and he
first
was also in New York City for 3
he was
years.
at New York
Wow.
City Library.
Yeah.
Wow.
So he has quite a wide variety of experience.
Good.
So
Looking
and he-
forward to meeting him.
And he starts on the 22nd.
Good.
And the other piece is we began our planning today for a picnic, a town staff picnic that we'll be doing
What
on the
date is that?
28th.
The 28th.
We'll be closing the office at noon,
September?
September. And if it rains, we'll have it at Taft
It never
Top.
rains.
Oh, no, I don't know why I would even think about it. We'll move that to October 5th and that will be the end date because on October 5th, we can actually use the cabins. There won't be anyone there.
Oh, okay.
So we can't do that on the 28th.
Good. Good.
How many people?
Roughly 30. It'll be the fire department, administrative staff, all of Public Works, the town office, and the library.
Great. All right, upcoming dates, October 10th is the next meeting. Y'all have that one down, and November 14th. All right, can I have a motion to go into executive session?
Motion to go into executive session pursuant to 1 MRSA, Section 405, 6A, to discussion of personnel issue.
Okay.
Somebody didn't second?
Second?
I'll second.
All in favor? All right, so give us a few minutes.
Move to come out of executive session.
Second.
All in favor? We're out of executive session. Have a motion to go forward with the recommendations discussed.
So moved. Second?
All in favor? Unanimous. Yeah, so Sue, tomorrow you need to talk Department of Labor and Liquor Enforcement.
We can get police reports too.
If you can get police reports, that would be great. Talk to the
Department of Labor.
sheriff.
DHS.
Because I've never heard of an inspection that's done through any licensing bureau where they don't leave you a piece of paper.
Yeah.
DHS
yeah.
also leaves their card, and
I
they,
mean, they come into my pharmacy, they go through an entire
Yep.
list, and they leave it with you. So,
yes.
okay. And we'll need it for the next meeting, so. Okay, have a motion to adjourn?
To adjourn.
Second?
All in favor? Thank you very much.